What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 11?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're celebrating Women's History Month all month long. So for the first time ever, we have a female guest or women guest.
Female.
Yeah. I want to introduce everybody. Andrea, say what's up.
Hi.
Yeah.
Not for
So
me. It's Women's History Month.
I guess.
It was International Women's Day yesterday.
Yeah, what'd you guys do?
Y'all didn't post me.
I
That's
know.
fucked up.
What the fuck?
That's
That's
fucked
because
up.
I showed you physically in the real world.
Did he?
I don't like ever post.
Lies. He's lying.
Not even for the show. That's crazy.
It's because I don't need a holiday to celebrate my love for you guys. Every day I wake up and I'm always like, damn, I'm happy for the women in my life. So
I didn't even see you yesterday.
I was manifesting myself. So if you thought about me yesterday, that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or that shit was funny, the one you put about how like for Women's Women's International Day.
I would be telepathically degrading men.
Yeah.
I feel worthless.
That was her.
That was me.
Did you feel worthless
Very
yesterday?
worthless yesterday.
Yeah. Me
Mission
too.
accomplished.
I know. Right?
Yeah, but last week we had a series of questions. You probably haven't seen it because it dropped today. But we asked like questions that women want to know. So now I'm doing the reverse. These are questions that men want to know about women. So I wanted to ask you guys. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
So here's the first one. Do you think it's hard for women to be friends?
I think that it really
The silence
depends.
says everything.
Silence.
Why do you think that is?
Personally, I know you chose this question specifically for me. Just growing up, I always had like a really hard time being friends with like girls. And I think it's just because we were sort of raised growing with like social media. And, you know, we were kids and we didn't have all that stuff. But I feel like as we became like teenagers, that stuff was kind of like popular. And it was like a big thing. It was like the new thing and everyone was going crazy for it. And I feel like a lot of people were just super like fake.
You think so?
Yeah. And people had this image of themselves that they wanted other people to like believe. Like, let's say I was like, oh yeah, I want to be like a cool skater girl. And I wasn't, you know?
Uh-huh.
But I tried so hard for people to believe that I was like a skater girl, you know?
So you would post like pictures
Yeah,
or like
things
shit,
like that. And I feel like that was such a big thing that
It like transferred to like real life?
Yeah, and a lot of people just, I felt personally that a lot of, specifically girls, and I hate to say it, but I feel like it was such a crazy thing to see how like women really tried super hard to kind of get approval of other people.
Like validation, right?
Yeah, it's
You
like
can-
a lot. And I think that I was always just like a real ass bitch, and I was super honest.
Okay.
And I was like, like, you know,
Yeah, that just wasn't you, right?
that just wasn't me.
You think that's an effect of social media? You think because it was like new in our generation?
I think in a way it is.
Yeah, right.
Not entirely. I think it also depends on the way that people grew up
Mm-hmm.
and who they were surrounded by and what kind of influence they had in their life and stuff. But I think that like the women that I got along with the most were like similar to me. You know, like I never had a problem with her because I feel like we're so much alike.
No, that's
feel
why
like-
it's funny
I
that I
feel
want to
like-
ask her because literally my sister tells me the same thing, that she's always had trouble being friends with other women.
Yeah. Well, because I think one of the things is the fact that like I feel like women are a lot more competitive against each other. I don't know where it comes from specifically, like where that kind of thing comes from. But I think the same thing of like I think I grow relationship with girls that are like me, so kind of like tomboyish in a way. Like,
Would you guys say you guys are tomboys?
I think so.
But I think we still have like our girly aspects. I was talking about this with Brandon the other day, and he was telling me, so like, sometimes I miss when you were such a dude, and I was like, what do you mean?
She has gotten more girly though, no?
I feel like you have gotten more
Yeah,
girly
was
when I met
very
you.
tomboy back then.
When I first met Andrea, I've known Andrea since we were like in high school. I feel like she had a lot of like, not to be fucked up, but she had like a lot of dude energy. But it was cool because she made me feel comfortable.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, she made me
Yeah.
feel really comfortable. I remember you were like the first friend who invited me to do something outside of school. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Julie, we were gonna go to Mexico the next day, and then literally the day before,
It
she's
was
like,
like my 15th birthday party.
Yeah.
And I think he like messaged me and he said, happy birthday. And I was like, yeah, I'm having a party. Come over. And he showed up in like an hour.
Yeah, I literally was like, everybody at home was like packing to leave because
Yeah.
we were leaving the next morning, and then you hit me up,
Going to a party.
and now fucking like almost 10 years later, I still know you. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. But was it hard like being a tomboy growing up? Did other girls like give you like a weird vibe?
I think so, just because a lot of girls sort of treated me a little bit differently and sort of said things like, oh yeah, why do you look like this? Or why are you wearing, isn't that a boy shirt? Isn't that like boy stuff? And in my head, I was just like, what's wrong with it? Like, it doesn't matter if I'm like happy with it, if I'm comfortable with it, you know? So I sort of started gravitating towards girls that were a lot like me, like Jocelyn. We dressed the same. And then Melina, the same thing. We had the same energy. And then I remember with her, I was always such good friends with her. We had, was it apes together?
Yeah.
Were you in that class?
I think he had first period.
I mean, I had that
third
class,
period.
but I wasn't with you guys. No.
Yeah, 'cause I
we
don't
were in
even
different
remember
periods.
how like, we just ran. I think she sat like behind me, and we just started becoming friends. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, Steve's my brother," and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." But we already like got along before that.
Do we look alike? Do we look? Because Brandon always says we do. Do me and my sister look alike? Yeah,
Really?
you think so?
I think
I always
so.
I
ask
don't
Stevie
see it,
if
yeah.
when we go out in public, if people already think or can see if we're siblings.
Yeah, I mean,
Stevie says no.
I don't think so.
I think you look a lot like your mom. A lot like your mom.
And I look like my
you
dad?
Look like your dad. But I feel like there's obviously similarities that you both have. Like I could tell that you guys are siblings.
Yeah.
We have
I
this.
think so.
We have sibling energy.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't. I just don't see it. Like,
but I feel like it's weird because I think the other thing, at least now that I realize with girls, is that like girls do tend to be like serious. So like with guys, I can easily like joke with them and like mess with them, and with girls, it's like you can't really do that
agree?
as much.
I feel like with girls, you have to be walking on eggshells because some will be cool about the things that you say, and some will get super like offended. And I think that
or they just don't get the joke.
Yeah,
like, they don't
they're
get the
just kinda
humor.
and they'll take
Really?
it wrong.
But you don't ever feel like you're like that sometimes.
Like what?
You guys
Where I
ever
don't get those. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because like I grew up. I'm like I feel like because I feel like I just grew around mostly men, so like I kind of understand like sometimes I'm just serious because men are also serious. Like some things like I'll be like okay like sure. Sometimes it's a lot because it's like it feels like everyone's kind of picking on you, but I feel like it's the same thing of like having siblings.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I only grew up with guys. So like I don't know what it's like to have a sister or like how it is. I've seen like sisters fight and I'm kind of like I'm glad I don't have a sister because I feel like sister fights are different than like having like brother
Yeah,
fights.
because I think it's because girls are really emotional. So when I see sisters fight, I feel like it's like an emotional fight. When guys fight, it's very much more like shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot more physical, a lot less. It's a lot more shallow in a way. But when girls fight, I feel like it's like a deeper like knife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, I've tried. It's not like I haven't been trying to like connect with girls. Like I have. It's just like I feel like there's always some sort of like awkwardness there, or like there's something that doesn't click. Like I don't know what it is. I can like as much as like I've been trying, I can't tell what it is that like I can't like easily connect with someone.
What's interesting because Andrea, you have a sister, right?
I have a sister, yeah. And I'm very similar, like the way that you grew up, because I have two brothers and a sister. And my oldest brother was like this fool, you know, this little cholo guy. Then my sister was like a punk rocker. So even then, she wasn't girly.
Yeah, she's very
And then
masculine.
my other brother, he was, you know, just a kid. He's a lot younger. So it really made a difference because, you know, since my sister wasn't very girly, I wasn't really influenced by that girly stuff, you know? And I kind of sort of took a liking on my own, like girly things. I was super into like strawberry shortcake at one point. And then I just quickly got over it and I got into like WWE. And it's because my brothers were into it, you know? And because of that influence, I feel like that really made a difference. And then even just like fighting, like with my brothers, just the way that you said, shut the fuck up, get the fuck out of here, you know, things like that. But
it's funny
when
too
I
because
fight with my sister, it was pretty bad because it was over like small things. She would always take my things, and because, you know, she thought she was an older sister, she thought it was okay to just come and grab my stuff. And I'm very like possessive about my stuff. I don't like people taking my shit. So she would take it and I would get mad. I'd be like, hey, why are you taking it? And she'd be like, oh, blah, blah, blah. She would just say snarky little comments. I remember one time I was like, whatever, you're a bitch. And I turned around and she grabbed my hair and yanked me. and she was crying, and it was this whole like emotional thing. And I remember my brothers were just kind of there like,
you got tripping?
what are we doing? Yeah, and every time me and my sister argue, it's always something super like emotional or dramatic. And sometimes I think about it, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, dude. Like, why is it like this? But it's definitely just because women are much more emotional. Even like arguments like with like my parents, like with my dad would just be like, whatever, you know? Yeah. And then my mom will be more like emotional about it and stuff. And I think just in general with like friends too, like I've never gotten into an argument with you guys, you know? And like my female friends, I've never gotten into an argument with them before, except Melina. This one time we were in Cabo and it wasn't even like a big deal. I think we were just couldn't agree on something. And I was like, no, you're wrong. She was like, no, you're wrong. And it was just back and forth. And then I think at the end, like, we both started crying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we were just like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, why are we fighting? Blah, blah, blah. I love you. I'm so sorry. And, like, with my brothers, I'll be like, whatever, you're a fucking asshole. Yeah. And then the next day, he'll be like, hey,
imagine, bro. Because, I mean, me and Brandon have argued, like, over the years, but never about, like just mainly, like, sometimes politics or, like...
Yeah,
or,
like, it's never that serious. Yeah.
But we never end it with, I love you, bro. Yeah. But moving on to
the only time that they ever confess is when they're drunk.
Yeah.
I never get drunk though.
Yeah, he never drinks.
I feel like that happens with men when they're like drunk. They get more emotional.
It's because the shield comes off.
Yeah.
Dude. And we're like, well, because I mean, it happens with like maybe not with Brandon, but with some of my other friends, like Izzy or Patrick. Definitely, we've been drinking, and then like, I fucking love you, bro. Like it starts coming. And it's funny for you too, because you said like since you're kind of a sober guy, like you've seen us in that position, right? And you're like, damn, like I never knew you felt this way.
Yeah, being sober. I don't know. I feel like kind of being sober all the time around people who are like high or drunk. It's kind of fun. I feel like they kind of know without knowing. So I feel like everybody like gravitates you like the magnet, and they start like, bro, like actually, like,
so. I have never told you this, but like I'm actually in love with you.
Yeah.
No, I feel you. But moving on to the next question, since you guys both like, I knew this, I knew you guys are both kind of like tomboyish. Did you guys ever envy like boys, like and wanting to do like boys activities? Like, did you guys ever feel like you wanted to almost be a boy? And the reason I ask is because I remember I saw a TikTok of this girl who said that growing up she would see like all the boys like play sports and then like jump in the river, and they didn't have this like fear of like their body, like they would just take off their shirts or whatever, and she felt very envious that sometimes she actually wished that she had been born a boy. Did you guys ever feel that type of like emotion?
I feel like I did, and I think I've mentioned it here like before, of like at least in family, of how different we were treated. Of like I always had to do like, I guess, women activities like cooking, cleaning, and all that, and then you guys were free to do like whatever you guys wanted. And I remember before I've even talked about how like sometimes I was even more like hateful of like I didn't even want to be a woman. Like I always hated it. Like I hated like not myself, but just the fact that I was a woman, and like the difference of like how I've been treated. Just like growing up. I think now I've been like more accepting of it. Like I'm like, it's a beautiful thing, even though there's still like a lot of shit going on within like women and stuff. But I think I have been envious of just like, I feel, and I get that men have like their own issues too, but sometimes it feels like there's this weird thing of like, it feels like you guys are a lot more like free-minded than what women are. Like women are like, I feel like personally, like when I like if I go out right by myself or something, like I'm always like scared something can happen to me, right?
Like you always have to have
like I'm always on I'm always on alert of like anything can happen to me, like, or like if I'm just the simplest thing of just walking to my car after work is like some shit can happen, right? And it's just like, as just me as a really small person, I'm just like, I feel like it just happens. And like I feel like the most recent time was when I would walk the dogs and I would just see like men stare at me, and like even that I was just like scared of just walking in my own neighborhood. It's just like those like small things that I sometimes think about. I mean, it could happen. I'm not saying that it can't happen to men, but I'm just saying, like, there's just, like, this whole difference of, like, being a woman, and, like, you hear shit, of, like kidnappings and, like, just, like, being taken advantage just because of, like, how delicate, and people think that we're not like very defensive, you know.
Does that ever motivate you guys to try and like, I don't know, like carry tasers or anything?
I mean, I carry pepper spray now. Brandon gave me a pepper spray, so I carry it. I used to have one in college because my older brother gave it to me when I left for college. So I had a pepper spray and a pocket knife, and then I used to just carry that around. So I've had that pepper spray for like 8 years, and then Brandon gave me a new one recently, like last year. So like I carry them around and stuff, and I'm like cautious about it, or like I'll try to walk in a group. Never really by myself. Every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, okay, like I'll be fine or something. Like nothing's gonna happen. I'm not trying to also be so paranoid all the time about it, you know?
Yeah, because I was gonna ask, like, and that must be a trip, right? To always think about like that type of stuff. And for me, it's funny because like I feel like one part I don't think about the things that you guys are saying because probably I'm a dude, so a lot of these things are like invisible to me. But second, I always feel like I don't know. I've never took that care of my own life like that. And so I wonder if that's like a gender thing. Like I wonder if you guys, because you guys are taught from like when you guys are younger to really like look out for these things, if that's like they especially stick out for you. Like I'm not saying you guys are invalid or anything because I think all your fears are valid. Yeah. No, I'm not. But I'm saying like, do you think us as when we raise women, do you think we instill a lot of fear there? Because I just think about like statistically, you know how we're like you guys walk to your cars and are afraid of kidnappers, but like a lot of people who usually get like mugged and like stabbed and killed are usually statistically like men. And I wonder if like that's one of the things that you guys would want to change growing, like raising women, is like not instilling that like fear, or if I don't know, thoughts.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I keep thinking of like where it comes from, like where in my childhood, like that fear kind of comes from. I mean, I almost got kidnapped when I was younger. So there's that story of like when mom lost me at the mall and they actually found me with a guy and he was like taking me out of the mall. Yeah. There was that story. I don't know if I remember it or like I do, and subconsciously that's why I'm like so fearful of like that happening again kind of thing. But I'm just like, that's why I'm like, at least for me, I try not to think about it a lot, where I'm like, I don't want to super paranoid myself of like going out and like being with my friends or just in general, just exploring, you know? I just think there's just like those fears because of the fact of like, I know like my own vulnerability too. And like I can fight as much as I can, but I don't know, anything can happen, you know? But yeah, I think the other part of just like being envious of men, I mean, I feel like the sports thing, I can't really like be envious about because I was in sports. Like I actually did it. I mean,
you were in sports too, right?
I wish I was a little more athletic. Like I wish I was more into it when I was younger.
But it has nothing to do with gender.
Yeah, I just feel like I think there was the only thing that I felt when I was in sports was I did feel lonely. Like I did feel like I was always the only girl on the team. Like in all of the sports that I played, it was usually always just me or there was another girl. But like I think the disadvantage was that like people always assumed that we sucked. Like they didn't want to choose us. They didn't want us to like play as much because they just assumed that we weren't like good. Which didn't help me like get better because like they wouldn't play me, like they wouldn't put me in like or anything. And the other part was just like sometimes it felt lonely of like I tried to like be friends with her and it was kind of like she wasn't interested like at all. So she was kind of like out of it. She was kind of like, I don't want to be here, so I don't want to talk to anyone. So that's why I was like, for the most part, it always felt like lonely of like, I felt like I never even had the connection with the guys because like they were always being put in the games and I was kind of like left behind. I think I just felt those when I was like doing sports. I think that was the big thing of like when I was in it was that like there was some unfairness that I felt there.
Did you feel the same, Andrea?
I think it was a little bit different for me just because I played soccer and I was in a team with all girls, but I definitely didn't have a connection with
any of the other girls.
Like I would hang out with like the guys team instead.
Really?
You know? Yeah, and I just a lot of the times I did think that, you know, I kind of do wish that I was like a guy, or just had more of those like opportunities, or just the way that they were treated, you know? Because like with girls, you know, you felt, oh my goodness, are you okay? Are you hurt? Do you need to go to the hospital? Things like this. It's like, it's fine. It's just a small cut, you know? And I feel like we were always treated so delicately and all these like things. And a lot of the girls were like that with each other. But just because of the way that I grew up with like my brothers, I'd fall, or, you know, I'd get hit or something, you know, just get up, you'll be fine. That's how I was whenever like I was playing, and I just never really had that sort of connection with like any of the girls on the team. So I felt very lonely in that sense, just because, I don't know, I think I was just, my mindset was a little bit different than that. So it was a little bit hard, but I think that
That's interesting, because like the way I hear it is that like to be a, would you guys say you were masculine women like growing up?
I think so.
Do you think it? Well, because this is interesting. No, well, because it's interesting because like would you say that men accept feminine men, people who are men who are no,
not at all,
and neither do women accept masculine women, right? So maybe if they met in the middle, how would you guys did you guys ever have friends who were men but they were feminine men?
I think I've had like a couple, but never really too many that stuck. And I don't think it was just because we didn't get along or anything. I think, you know, we grow apart or whatever. But I've always just kind of like stuck with, I don't know, like with you guys. We've been friends for over like 10 years now. Yeah. And we've always just sort of stuck around each other. And I don't think I ever had a problem with like men being more feminine. But it just kind of, I think there was always differences that.
Well, that's interesting, right? Yeah. Well, talking about more like moving on the side of like relationships, were you guys ever like more attracted to like masculine men because you guys yourselves felt like masculine females, or not?
I feel like at least the one guy that I can think about, I always felt like I kind of had the pants in the relationship.
Damn.
Me too.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And I still feel that way about like my current relationship. And it's not like in a bad way, you know. But I think I'm just I always say this as a joke. I always say that I'm like an alpha female. But like I feel that way, you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like I'll be out with like Chris. I think your boyfriend's name is Chris too, yeah.
You guys are
both dating a Chris. So sometimes we'll be out and like someone will bump into him, right? Some girl or some guy, whatever. They'll just be like, oh, whatever. And I'll be like, who the fuck did that?
No,
like,
real,
are you okay? And he'll tell me like, oh, some girl like bumped into me or something. And I'll be like, what the fuck? Like, tell me who it was. And I'll go and he's like, it's not that big of a deal. And I've always just been that person that's always very like confrontational, very, you know.
Yeah, true. No, yeah.
Pants. I'm just like,
dude, because I've known you a while, and it's funny too, because like we would drink sometimes, or whenever we go to bars sometimes, and then the real you comes out. She's for real. Is like it's like I'm drinking with my tío, you know, like.
Yeah,
like,
I'm ready. Like,
yeah,
I feel like that happens just because, like, going back to what we were talking about when, like, you know, we have to have our guard up just all the time, and just because, you know, we're women, it's harder, you know? Like she said, she's scary walking around, like, at night sometimes, or even during the day, you know? And I feel like you always just have to have your guard up, and it's kind of annoying because you can't just do anything so, like, peacefully, you know?
So
and
do you guys both, like, embrace, like, your masculinity now?
I definitely do.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the other thing that I always think of is, like, the whole resting bitch face. It's like, I think, I know, especially for me, I kind of always had it, but I think a lot of my friends who also like have that, or like when people are always like, or girls are always like, I always thought you were mean, but when I first like saw you, and
girls told you that a lot, or what?
A lot.
And then
like, oh, I thought you were
my
such a
friend
bitch.
said, my friend told me that, and she was like, the reason that I do it is because I don't want people to approach me. Like, she's like, especially like, because she kind of grew up kind of always getting like, I guess, catcalled, that she was like, I just do it so that men can leave me alone. And I was kind of like, I feel like I just did it just because, like, yeah, like, I didn't want.
It's just my
like,
face.
Yeah, like, it's just like a thing. But like, some people actually like do it because like they're like, I don't want to get approached. Like, I just don't like people like approaching me, kind of thing.
It's funny too, because since I grew up with you, I always feel like, yeah, people always, I remember just people always saying they thought that you were mean. Like, I remember like, dude, like, is your sister mean? Like, I feel like she looks mean. And I was like, nah, she's pretty cool. But it's funny because then when I grew up, I realized that like I always like clicked more with people who got like who had like RBF. Because in reality, they're actually like really cool. Like the fact that they have RBF means that less people talk to them. So they're actually a lot more open when you talk to them. Because like, hey, like actually nobody ever actually says what's up. You know, most people leave me alone. But I mean, I didn't hear that part about like some people do it intentionally, so people actually do leave them alone. Yeah, that's trippy.
I do it at work all the time, just because I work at AutoZone. You know,
around a bunch of dudes.
A bunch of dudes. All of our customers are guys, and whenever like women walk in, you know, I put on like I smile, like hi, welcome, just to be a little bit more welcoming because you can tell they're walking in, they feel a little bit intimidated, a little nervous. Then when guys walk in, I'm always just like, you need help? What do you want? You know, just because I'm a girl in like a men's environment. So I'm always treated differently if I'm too nice to them or if I just come off as like, oh, like she doesn't really know what she's doing. So I feel like a lot of the times I do put on like a resting bitch face on purpose so they can, you know, get their shit and get the
on
fuck
purpose.
out. So
I swear it's not my face.
Alone. Yeah.
I thought you just looked like that, Andrea. That's crazy. I didn't know it was intentional.
But now I'm kind of like, I don't really like mind as much. I guess like I guess you would say my masculine side as much anymore. I think I don't like the way I dress. I'm kind of like, this is just how I dress, you know. I wish I could be a little more like
girly.
Yeah, like I could dress a little more like that if I knew how or like what to wear or like. There's just certain things that I like and I don't like, and then also I'm just a little broke, so I can't really like buy clothes as much as I would.
Is it expensive being a girl?
Yeah. More
expensive than being a dude? How do you know? Do you spend a lot on your clothes or what?
Me?
Yeah. What do you say most of your money goes to as a dude?
That's a good question.
Yeah, right. Because I always hear that like being a girl is like expensive. Because I mean, you guys also like since you guys have your time of the month, you guys also have to spend on that.
And that shit is expensive as fuck, and it's so upsetting because like you can get condoms for free. But we have to pay for like pads and tampons and any like sanitary product, and it's not like we have a choice.
It's amazing.
It's on you, bro. You're a man, right? Right,
yeah, bro.
Fuck all men. Do you guys believe in fuck? What is it? No, what is it? The all men thing? What is it?
Men ain't shit.
Men
ain't shit.
Is it?
I think people are people. I think everybody's there ain't shit on both sides.
But mostly men.
I don't know. Andre ain't shit. I know that much. Yeah. So I don't know. She every time
I'll admit it.
Every time I want to give girls the benefit of the doubt, I always look at Andrea and I'm like, you know what? Fuck them. Would you say? Do you guys think it's fun to play around with guys?
What do you mean?
Like, did you see? You both got defensive like immediately.
What does that mean?
Nah, because I'm talking about Ice Spice. She talks about her lyric, "The Bae, I'm not staying. I just want to play." She's saying she encourages like a lot of girls who are young to just play around, as in like don't date or take anything serious. Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying, do you guys think there's any benefit to it, or did you guys ever play with like boys? That's what I mean.
I don't.
That came out wrong.
I'm definitely not like against it because do whatever you want. I haven't done that because I've been dating my boyfriend for 2 years, so it's just kind of like
you're
I'm a loyal woman.
Yeah.
I feel like I always talk about because my friends are kind of like getting into this thing where they want to get into like hoe phases, I guess. And they've asked me questions about it, and I'm kind of like, I feel like if you want to do it, like mess with people, but don't mess with people's feelings. Like you can like sleep with dudes and do whatever you want, whatever like is kind of beneficial to you, like whatever you want from them, whether you just want like to hang out with them, mess with them, whatever. But I'm always like, don't lead anyone on. Like, don't like have them like have feelings for you. Kind of always set your intentions first. Be like, I just want to mess around and that's it. Yeah, because I'm not for like messing with people's feelings because I feel like a lot of it is just like very. I don't know if the word is traumatic, but it's just like it's very I feel like it's very harming. Yeah, it's very harming to like the person of like they're really into you and you're not even into them and you're kind of just like leading them on, you know.
Yeah, I'm super. Like,
I think that's
against
fucked
that
up.
too. Yeah, yeah, because if you're gonna like, just fuck
Hoe
around,
around.
hoe around, do whatever you want, at least have the same like mindset as the other person.
Yeah.
Like if I met some random guy one day and I was like, hey, I just want to fuck around, I would tell him like, I'm not trying to do anything serious. Like, it's this and that's it. And
Communicate, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if, it continues to happen, eventually someone catches feelings. I think it's important to communicate that and see where you both stand. If one of you feels like emotionally attached to the other and the other one doesn't, it's better to cut it off now than to continue and then hurt somebody else. Because I don't think it's fair, even whether it's a guy or a girl. It's just.
Do you guys think there's a benefit to having a hoe face? Do you think it's like almost every girl should have a hoe face or person? I guess it doesn't have to be specifically girls.
I feel like if you want to go through it, you can do it.
But do you think it's beneficial?
I think it's beneficial depending on however you want to go through it. I don't think everyone should do it. I don't recommend it.
It's not for everyone. I don't think it is, because there's some people who just don't care. And if they don't care and they want to do that, that's fine, and it doesn't like harm them or affect them in any way. But there's some people who are, they're just lover girls or lover guys.
Lover girls.
And if you are going to get like attached to someone, or you're just going to feel bad about yourself after, I don't think you should do it. So it definitely just depends on like yourself.
Yeah. I think it just depends on like if you think it'll really benefit you, or like what your real intentions are with doing it. Yeah. If you want to hear like my own personal thing, like my own personal thing was just like I kind of did it because like I think because I was in a very long-term relationship that I was kind of like I'm kind of like free, I guess. And I think it was just like I wanted to explore myself a lot more. And for me, I feel like I got a lot of like boosts of confidence within myself, and like especially like talking with dudes and like just like I guess getting to know them, how to talk to them, who is a good guy and like who's a bad guy, of like who's actually good enough to be in a relationship and who's not, kind of thing. I think I just learned a lot about myself in general.
I think so. That's I've never had a whole face, and sometimes I think about.
What do you mean? It's going on right now. I'm just kidding. Yeah, what are you saying?
My boyfriend watching this.
I know. He's listening like, yo.
But like to say like my whole phase wasn't that I was always just sleeping with guys. I was just like I was honestly trying to like up my game. Like I was just like trying to be like, all right, how do I talk to the next guy? Like it wasn't always like constantly like sleeping with men. It was just like, how do I talk to them, or like how do I approach them? And then I succeeded. No, I got a boyfriend.
That's true. Yeah. You too. You guys got Chris's. Yeah. It's the same Chris. Imagine.
Like,
Bruh.
Be like, look at a picture of him. Like, he's so handsome. And be like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I got a boost of confidence through it. I feel like I was always very timid and like very self-conscious of myself, of like I don't got game. I remember being like, I don't got game. And then once I was like single and like I was able to like to talk to all these dudes, I was like, I got game. What am I talking about?
I felt that way after like my first relationship, because it was like 3 years. It was a really long relationship, and it was like throughout high school and a little bit after that. And I remember like once it was like completely over, I would ask like Steve, and I was like, yo, like I just feel like guys don't like me. Like, am I too boyish? Am I too, too much of a tomboy? And I remember Steve got so frustrated. He's like, what do you mean? Like, all these guys liked you, but they never said anything because you had a boyfriend. And I was like, really? And then, during that time,
I remember
I was definitely very, like, I'd get, like, attention from, like, other guys, or just, like, like how she said, just, like, a boost of confidence. Because, like, oh, people actually are interested in me,
But that was me, Yeah. Like, I'm not saying everyone, or like, I feel like I was very fortunate enough of like nothing bad really ever happened within, I guess, that phase.
Have you ever seen like the bad of like a hoe phase? Like, have you ever heard like horror stories or anything?
I've heard bad things about like people in my life. I'm not gonna name names.
Yeah, you don't gotta say names, but like what?
But it's just kind of like sleeping around with men sometimes makes other people feel like worthless, because this person is pretty close to me, and she's going through her whole phase, and do what you want. Just be safe, and don't get yourself too like twisted up into things if you're not trying to. But I remember there was like a time during the pandemic, especially, that I feel like it was like a really big thing just because people didn't really have anything else to do. And she would like meet people, and she'd go and she'd hook up with these guys and all these things. And then guys would just kind of like drop her and leave her, and and she had the same mentality, but it was really affecting her. So I remember I had to talk to her, and I'll be like, okay, well, you're doing this to these guys, you're doing the same thing, you're ghosting them, you're not talking to them anymore. But when they do it to you, like, why is it affecting you so much? And I'd never really understood that, but it was like I saw her at her lowest because of that. And it was hard for her to get out of it, And I think that's just, again, like what we were talking about, that it's not for everybody. And some people just really need to be careful with what they do and like who they do it with.
Because I think it sounds, in like theory, it sounds fun, right? Like, just because either way, like for a guy or a girl to have like your whole face, in theory it sounds fun, but I think some people are just like naturally predisposed to like growing attachment and emotional connections with people. So some people, I think, want to convince themselves like, no, like I don't care, like I'll just fuck around, or I'll be with one girl one day and then I'll be with another girl the other day. And then like by the end of like your whole phase, or after you've been doing it for a while, you realize like, damn, like none of this shit like matters, or like all I did was make my feel shitty, like an object, I objectified myself.
Because I feel like a lot of people use it to kind of fill a void, where it's like they did recently like go through like a breakup, and they're kind of like, they want to feel kind of like wanted. And I think sometimes people get it like twisted of like they want the presence of someone there, when it's like, when I feel like a whole face should just be like kind of just discovering yourself, and like what you like, what you don't like, whether that's like being intimate with someone, it's not being intimate with someone. Like, I think there's just different ways of going about it, and some people kind of like not mistreat it, or is it mistreated? It's just like they don't, I don't know, they don't do it right. I don't know.
They don't do it right.
It's just like, I feel like some people use it to fill a void of something. And then that's when it kind of just goes bad. Because then the more that they do it, the more lonelier they feel. And it's like, well, then that's not really benefiting you, I think. And the other thing is just like, again, like when you're going into it, knowing your intentions already. Like knowing that like if you like someone or like whatever, like knowing that like they also told you and you told them that you don't want a relationship, and if you do, then set those intentions. Be like, I want a relationship. Don't just be like having it and then you're kind of sad that it's not happening, that you're not getting into a relationship, because it's like that's not what it is,
I feel like that's where also like communication takes place, or should take place. People talk about communication a lot in like relationships and friendships and anything. And I feel like it's definitely important, especially if you're going through like a phase like that, to communicate how you feel with the other person or other people, just so you don't get yourself like entangled into something, or so you don't hurt yourself or hurt somebody else, And I feel like that doesn't happen a lot, because in their mind, it's like, okay, well, I'm just fucking this person and that's it, What if that person's like in love with you, or you're like secretly in love with them?
Yeah,
it's definitely important to communicate whether you think it should happen or not.
Yeah, because sometimes it could be subconscious. Definitely, you never know how you feel until like, in a way, almost like the aftermath. Yeah, like sometimes you're like, damn, like that shit still bothers me, or like I'm still thinking about that shit like so much, or like you see your I don't know, your fucking one of your rosters, right, or whatever they call it. You see if she posts like on her story that she's with like somebody else, and you're like, damn, I kind of don't like that she's with somebody else. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's weird how a lot of that shit is subconscious.
Yeah. Even with like my friends, I mean, I talk to them about like what I kind of went through, and then sometimes I do like playfully, I'm like, oh, you should do it too, or something or whatever, and then because they're single, I don't do it if they're taken. Only if they're single.
You should
like,
though.
You should have your fun. You should have your fun. And then especially sometimes they'll be like,
it's Women's History Month, dude. Come on.
Nothing counts.
Yeah.
Nothing counts this
All
month.
Boyfriends give like their girlfriends a pass.
Yeah. Bruh. No, but
Chris.
No, but they'll be like, no, it's because like I can't do these things because like I have to have feelings to be like intimate with someone or like have sex with someone. Like I have to have feelings. I can't just do it just cause. So I'm like, yeah, like there's people who just can't do it, you know, like, and that's fine. Like that's why I'm like, it's not for everyone, you know, not everyone can do it. It just sucks that like I guess when you go through it and like there's some men who are like how we've talked about body count, right? And like there's this sort of like devaluing because like you went through your whole phase, or like there's this some sort of like I don't know, like intimidation of like how many people you've slept with.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're a dude who gives a fuck about like body count, then you're not a high quality man. You know, you're not. They're not something worth even like being sad about. If like somebody's like, oh, you did this, like, oh, I don't want to be with you. Well, I don't be with you either. Like, what the fuck? Like,
I feel like that just like tells right away.
No,
right.
I don't want to be with you.
It's like a super red flag. But moving on, I still have more questions. I have a good amount of more questions, but I wanted to ask you guys, since you guys are both Latinas, and you guys grew up in Latina households, I wanted to ask you guys, did you guys ever experience that type of like, what's the word? Tradition of like your family expected you to be the submissive a woman who takes care of the man and serves the man, and then the boys were, like you said, babied, and like they were expected to just sit back, go grab them a beer, and then like just like chill. Did you guys ever experience that?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Not a good thing, but yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. My parents are both super old school, like Mexicans, you know, from the rancho. So that's their life. That's the way that they grew up, and that's what they know. So my dad, like, he did construction growing up, and my mom didn't work because she didn't have to. You know, my dad's like, okay, I'm the man of the house. I'm going to provide for you, take care of the kids, whatever. I had, 2 brothers and a sister. So, yeah, as you can imagine, similar, like, how you grew up. My brothers were able to do whatever they wanted. They never had to clean. They never had to learn how to cook. They never had to wash their clothes. They could literally eat food on the table and leave their plate, leave their mess, and then they can just go to their rooms. And then my mom... Because
you're supposed to clean it up,
Because, yeah, my sister and I were supposed to clean it. So everyone would be done, and then my mom would be like, okay, clean it up. And my sister, she was more obedient in a sense, I think, just because... I don't know, just...
She's probably older.
She's older,
different generation.
She's a lot older than me. So, yeah, it was just in her mind, it's like, this is the right thing to do. This is what I should be doing. So I'm going to do it. But me, I was a brat. And I used to yell at my mom and be like, I'm not going to do it because he's not doing it. Why do I have to clean it if he's not going to clean it? Or she would make me go wash the dishes, and I'd be like, nope. And we would get into fights about that. And then she would always yell at me. She'd be like, why are you bringing them into it? It's not their job to clean. It's your job. And I was like, nope, it's not my job. And my sister would do it because she would feel bad, or she would be like, my mom is saying you have to do it, so you have to do it. And I was always like refusing to do it, but it was a big problem. And I always felt bad that my sister always had to like be cleaning up after it. Even my dad, I remember he would get home and we would open the gates because we have gates outside the house, and we would hear the truck, or sometimes he'd honk. We'd open the gates for him, and then we would have to get his lunchbox and his stuff out of the truck, and then we would help him take off his botas, like his work botas. And my brothers were just in the room, like doing nothing, and then my mom would be like, calienta las tortillas, or heat up whatever. And we were just expected to do it, and for so long, it was just like the normal thing to do, that we would do it. And then once I started growing up a little bit and started realizing, like, why is it only us? Like, why do they have to... Like, why can they sit around and not do anything while we have to clean up and do all these things? And even now, like, sometimes my boyfriend will come over to my house, and my mom will be like, oh, serve him a plate. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not going to do it. Like, he can do it himself. And then she would be upset with me. She'd be like, oh, like, that's going to be your husband one day. He's your boyfriend. Like, you have to serve after him. You have to be a good wife. And I was like, why? I was like, he can do it himself. It's not like...
Is he a good husband? Is he making the bread?
The bread? He's not.
Is he building you a house?
He's not building me a house. So, yeah, I always told my mom that, and she would always get upset. And then my dad, I feel like which was kind of surprising because he didn't really push it onto us as much as my mom did. My dad would just be like, oh, it's fine. Just leave them. Like, they don't have to do it. Or, you know, sometimes my dad would ask my brothers. Yeah. And it's just really weird because... You know, you've met my dad.
Yeah,
super, like, old school Mexican guy. Like, you think that, like, he has that what is it, machista,
Machismo?
machismo mentality, and it's very surprising and very interesting to see how my dad never really like pushed that onto us as much as my mom did, even like my grandma, but like my dad never.
Yeah, because
never
like
pushed
I
it
just think
onto
it's
us.
interesting that it's like, at least from what I've heard from other friends who they told me similar situations, it's always like a woman who's like the more putting it on the other woman, the younger
Yeah.
woman. So I wonder how that happens, that like they feel the need to be like, do you think it's because like it's like, oh, I did it, like, and I suffered, so now
I
you guys
think
have to do
so,
it too?
definitely, because my mom is she's very in that mentality where she's like, well, I had to do it, so now you have to do it, and stuff. And I think that my dad, especially with me, because growing up, my siblings, they were always like in school and stuff, and my dad was working a lot at the time. And then when I was born, it was a little bit different. Then my mom was working a little bit more, so income was a little bit more balanced. So my dad was home like more often, and then I was the one that would like hang out with him because everyone was older. They'd be in school, they'd be, and I would be home. So I'd spend a lot more time with him, and I feel like we just had more of a connection, more of like an emotional attachment. And my dad, I remember when I was little, he would like tell me, don't let a boy treat you this way. Don't let a boy tell you to do this. Or if you don't feel comfortable serving after a man, don't do it. And I remember sometimes like my brothers would tell me to do stuff for them, and my dad would be like, no, she's not going to do it. And my mom would get mad at me because I wouldn't do it. She would expect me to just listen to them instead of listening to like her or my dad.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I never really paid attention to it like when I was little, because I was just like, okay, whatever. But like now that I'm older and I think about it, I'm like, yeah, it's very interesting, because I have like friends whose dads are, similar, but very, very strict. And they can't even like talk to their dads like casually. They have to refer to like usted or manda usted, or, like serve them at the table and things like that. And my dad literally was not like that. So it's very interesting.
Yeah,
but it's
dude.
definitely like mom's reflections, or they're like projecting themselves onto
Yeah,
us. And
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Because I think in Latina households, especially, the mom and daughter connection is always really like interesting. Like that dynamic, I've always noticed that it's like, I think a lot of Latina moms kind of like project onto their daughter a lot. Like whether it's like, oh, like they feel some type of insecurity, or they feel like they missed out on something. Somehow I always feel like it kind of really shows itself in the way they raise their daughters.
Yeah.
At least that's from what I've seen.
I think it might also be just like not that it's like, oh, because I went through it, like you have to do it. I think sometimes it's also like, I went through this and I don't want you to go through the same like suffering that I did. I think it depends on like, I guess, what they kind of went through. I feel like personally, I think where mine comes from is just like, I don't think she wants me to kind of like not suffer, but go through the same things that she went through. So she's trying to like make me into the person so that I can be better, or like I can have a better life, which she kind of assumes is better for me, right? Because she thinks that because like, oh, well, I had this happen into my life, so I'm trying to prevent you from going through like this hardship too. I think that's how she kind of sees it sometimes, but I think it might sometimes like not work, because like we're different, like we're not the same person.
Especially in like these times.
Yeah.
Things are very different than they were when they were growing up. So,
Yeah. So it could be. I don't know where it kind of comes from, but I am thinking that like I feel like I think that's where it comes from, where we're kind of like we want to be tomboys kind of thing.
That's true.
Where it's like I guess it's the relationship that you have with your mom maybe like affects you as like growing up. Because I feel like if you have a good relationship with your mom, that's where like you're very girly and all that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pulling
It
back
could
the
be.
layers
I don't
right
know.
now.
I don't know. It could be. I'm just thinking of like that's where it could come from. Not saying that that's how everyone is, because like I've met friends who are like girly and they don't have the best relationship with their mom. But like I think it does come from like I guess your relationships that you have within your family, and that kind of like transition to like the friendships that you'll make. I know there's probably a shit ton of layers from like where it comes from.
Yeah.
But I feel like, yeah, I mean, I've talked about it on here of like how different it was for me, like growing up and stuff. And like, how mom always wanted me to like help at parties, and you guys were always just playing video games. And like
I was like 5 years old.
and like how and like how like yeah, the same thing with the dishes. Like y'all don't clean them, so mom always makes me like clean all the dishes. Like, and then you guys can just put your dish in like the dishwasher, and I have to like, or the sink or whatever, and then like I actually have to wash them. I know it's just like also like my mom, I guess, also just kind of grew up with that of like women should serve their men because like they're the ones who are working. And I mean, times are different, and I think she understands that times are different. You know, like she doesn't try to like force it so much on me.
Yeah.
And I think same with like our dad. I don't think he's ever like pushed it on me. I don't think he's ever like, well, he's never said like how a man should treat me or like how they shouldn't treat me. They're like, he said he's only said like one thing to me before, but like it was just like how it was kind of like how a man should treat me, but it kind of wasn't. It was more of just like it felt like an attack on something. But I don't think like Bobby has ever said anything. Mom for sure is just like, you just need to clean and like do this and cook.
Would you guys ever feel comfortable like being actually the girl who serves and does all that stuff if your man did the traditional thing of like he actually was the breadwinner, or even then nah?
I think that to an extent, like I wouldn't mind it, but I also don't think that it would be fair for like me to do everything, you know, because it's like, okay, well, I'm here, like I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, and I still have to clean up after you. Like you should still help me out. I think it's just very important to like split those things and for it to just be fair, especially like in this day and age. I don't know. I just don't think it's right. And I think maybe it could be also just because we grew up doing that, and it's like, I don't want to do that shit anymore. Like, why am I going to have to do it for somebody else? Like,
because it's almost like you're taking care of like a kid, right?
Yeah, and it's like, I don't want to do that to a grown man. Like, you can do it yourself. Like,
I
it's
feel
not
like
that hard.
I feel like yeah, I would be fine. Like I'm down to be a housewife. I don't gotta go to work. Like I'm down to
That's
do
that
that.
internalized
But it's just
misogyny,
like,
Julie.
but I think at the same time, I do think like it should still be like there should still be some type of help in the house. Like I'm not here to baby you. Like yeah, I'll do your laundry, but like don't just leave it on the floor. Like put it in the basket. Like pick it up. Like do it here. Like or like if I cook, like I cook and then you clean the dishes. Like we should have like some sort of
I
like,
get that, yeah.
Like
some sort of balance.
Yeah, like I'm not saying like fully do everything and like go to work and then you also have to come back and clean. Like I'm saying like there should be some type of like I shouldn't be cleaning up after you all the time. Like you should just clean it and then I'll do your laundry or something. Like I feel like that's how I see it. I see it as like, yeah, I'm fine with it if you do these things to not make it like even more of a trouble for me of like I always have to pick up like your laundry from the floor or like those kinds of things. Like I'll take care of the house. Like I'll do it.
Yeah.
But you also have to do your part of not just me having like a fucking like baby in the house of like all
well, because
that
it's
stuff.
funny because like Brandon, I don't know if you feel this way. I am actually curious to know how you feel. But would you mind being the breadwinner and having your wife be a stay-at-home mom? Not saying like they're saying, like I'm not saying she's also gonna cook, clean, and like wipe your ass for you or anything. But fucking like, I mean, like, would you mind having a stay-at-home wife?
What do you mean? Would I mind? Like, would I be like? Would I feel bad about it?
Would you feel good about it?
Would I feel good about it?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a little indifferent to it. I feel like if I had the money and I was making more than enough to support us, I feel like having a job sucks. Capitalism sucks. I don't blame you. Like you don't want to work, you don't want to work, you know?
Because this is funny. This is something that, and it's funny that my sister's saying that she likes, like, she wouldn't mind being a stay-at-home mom. Because I wouldn't mind being the breadwinner and my wife staying at home. Like I said, I'm not expecting her to fucking like spit shine the entire house. You know what I mean? Like I'm not expecting that either. But like for some reason, there's something in me where I'm like. And maybe it's because me and my sister have like internalized like machismo, but like I wouldn't mind being like the breadwinner and having my wife stay at home and just like I don't know, I come home and she was like watching like I don't know, she was watching like Netflix or something. She's like, "What'd you watch today?" You know, like I wouldn't mind that, but I don't know if that's like problematic or anything. Like And I think it's just because probably what me and my sister saw growing up, huh?
Yeah.
Like I feel like our parents made it work.
Yeah, I think that's why I also am like not so harsh on like kind of like how we grew up. Like, yeah, I had those moments of like being treated differently and stuff, but I feel like I still see that for my parents it kind of worked out, you know. Like that's them, right? But that may not be me or like what I want, you know.
Yeah.
But it worked out for them, and I feel like they seem very happy with each other, and like
right?
they're fine, you know. Like my mom's still like, especially because my dad has his own business, and like my mom's still there with him. Like I love their dynamic. Like I'm very like, I don't know, I'm like I just love how they are. Like there's no like, I guess like hate towards them of like however they've treated me like growing up. It's just like that's just they had kids really young, you know. They didn't know like what to do with us kind of thing. They did their best, you know. They did their best with us. And like that's why like their own dynamic is like what I'm fine with. Like if he's going and like my mom has to clean a whole ass house, like she's fine with it. She has to cook. Like either way, we always have meals, you know. And I think that's how I kind of see it, where it's like if my husband is like the only breadwinner, then yeah, like I'll for sure always have food for you. Like I'll for sure always try to like clean, but like I'm not I'm not gonna be your slave, you know. Like I want
like that's like a big misconception, is that it kind of makes it seem like if men want women to like serve after them, and that's the thing that I don't like. 'Cause it's like, we're not your servants. Like I'll help you out. Like if you're the one making money and you're okay with me not working, okay, I'll, you know, do this, I'll do that, but you also need to take your part and don't treat me any less. Just because like you're the one that makes the money and you feel like you have like
power,
right?
Yeah, I feel that too. Yeah. Well, moving on to my next question, which has to do with like, it's funny because it kind of relates to this. I was just gonna ask about kids and like having kids, but specifically because I've thought about this even since I was a kid. But does the thought of giving labor scare you guys? Like the actual act of giving birth, does it intimidate you guys?
I think it does. I think it scares me of like it just scares me of like whatever my body's gonna go through. I think I mostly just think about like what mom went through. So like my mama was, I mean, she didn't get to test out the theory as much because she only had one girl and she had two guys. But when she was having boys, she lost a lot of weight because like she said that a lot of it was like very she felt very nauseous. So she couldn't really eat, so she lost a lot of weight. So she ended up getting like diabetes when she was like pregnant. Damn. And then when she had me, she had a lot of cravings. So she always wanted to eat. She always wanted to do like a lot of things. Which again, she ended up getting diabetes again because she was eating a lot. So she was always getting like sick. And I think when she was having my brother, she almost had like anemia too, because of like all the weight she was like losing because she was too nauseous. She couldn't eat. So I just think of like those things of like health wise of whatever my body's gonna go through. I mean, my mom's pretty small and she was able to handle all three of us. So like I assume that like I can handle all of those things. But like giving labor, I'm just like, I've seen this diagram of like how big like your uterus gets, and I'm like, ain't no fucking way,
bro. Because it used to trip me out when I was a kid. I remember when we would be like at a church school. I remember when I first found out about people giving birth. I remember I was like, thank God I'm not a girl, dude. Like, fuck. Like, I'm gonna have to push. Because obviously they show you Mary, and then, like, obviously, like, they tell you how she gives birth, like, through the vagina or whatever. And I was always like, damn, like,
your vagina.
That's the scientific term.
I don't know the
uterus?
biology. Your vagina. I said uterus, but it's vagina.
The cervix goes to like.
Oh yeah, your cervix. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to dilate. That's crazy. I'm very scared of it.
And it's weird because it's like you hear the things of like you're only 5 centimeters now, so you're saying that like my cervix is just like
it's just
opening
growing
slowly. That's just weird. But
I think you guys got it. I bet you it's not even that hard, bro. I'm just kidding. I'm literally just.
What do you know how many you would want to have or no?
I think I only want 2 kids.
2?
If I were to want any, I feel like growing up, like getting older, has made me realize like that I don't know if I actually want kids or not. And I think just when I was little, my mom would always tell me, she's like, okay, you were put on this earth to like
give birth,
to like produce more life when you're older and when you're ready, you know.
Really, your mom would tell you that?
Yeah, but it's like even now, like she'll tell me, because all my siblings are all older than me. They're like in their 30s, except for one of my brothers who's like in his like late 20s, but none of them have kids. And my mom's always like, I really want a grandchild. Someone has to have a kid. Like, what's the point? Like, you're gonna get older, you're not gonna be able to have kids. Like, you're gonna die alone. There's no one's gonna be there to take care of you. And in my head, I was always like, okay, when I was little, I was like, yeah, like, I want to have kids. I want to have, like, at least 4 kids, like my mom. I want to be married when I'm 25. I want to do this. I'm 23. And I'm like, no.
You're like,
and
fuck.
yeah,
like,
I'm like, fuck that. Fuck them kids.
Chris?
Yeah, I think I only want 2 kids. And if I only have, like, 1, let's say, because I definitely want at least 1. And let's say it's a little bit too traumatic for my body, or I just don't really, don't really enjoy it. I think I'll be fine with just 1 kid. Yeah. And in my head, I feel a little bit guilty just thinking about that, because I don't want my kid to be like an only child.
Excuse you? Shout out to all the only children out there.
Shout out to all the only children.
I don't want to be like those weird kids. Yeah, what you say?
I think it's just, I don't know. It's scary. It's a lot for a woman to like get pregnant and like give birth and go through all that stuff. So I don't blame people. I feel like there's a big like misconception about people not wanting to have kids, especially like in like the millennial generation or the boomers.
Oh yeah, the boomers.
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Julie? It's like, if you don't want to have kids, it's because you're selfish and you can't think about anybody else but yourself.
That's fine.
That's fine. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, okay,
I love myself.
Who's experiencing life right now?
Myself.
Who's the one experiencing life right now? It's me.
Yeah. Well, because it's like I'm like, you can't force people to have kids because it's like they're not going to treat them well if they don't want them, you know? I mean, they will try, but I feel like themselves, they'll be miserable of like, I said I didn't want kids and I still had one, and you're kind of like regretful, but like now you have to raise a whole ass kid, you know? Like if you don't, a whole ass kid. It's a whole ass human. Like, I think in
wisdom and shit.
I think in general, it just scares me of like having a kid and like anything can happen because it's a whole other life, you know?
That you're
like
responsible for.
It's like different from having a pet, you know? Like it's just like this is a whole ass human. This is like your DNA, and it's like the thought of losing a kid is like, at least for me, is like horrifying. Cause I'm like, I don't know how I could, like, I don't know how I would be able to handle it if I lose a kid, and like knowing that it was under my care, you know, and like that's my own kid, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I think I've always loved the idea of like pregnancy. Like I love seeing women with like their belly and stuff. I always think a woman really looks pretty when she's pregnant. And like I'm just always like, it's a beautiful thing, you know, to carry life in general. But the thought, it just scares me of like having birth and like giving birth, I guess. And like whatever my body can go through. I'm not too like paranoid on it, but I am like, fuck, like you hear stories, you know, you hear shit, you know, and it's kind of like it could go either way, you know, it could be good, it could be bad, you know. But I'm like, it is scary, but like I'm not opposed to it, you know. I guess it just depends at like how I feel whenever the time comes of like whether I want to have them or not.
Like, you know, sometimes it happens. I don't want to say like on accident because, you know, I just think that's
I was an accident. just saying.
But it happens, you know, like unplanned or whatever. But I think if you, especially nowadays, that like abortions are like a thing or whatever. I'm super open about that, you know, and I think people should really have kids when they're ready, especially like in this economy.
Especially the way the gas be like.
Yeah, it's expensive, you know, and it's hard because you have to still take care of yourself and you have to take care of a child. And it's like, especially like at least for me, and I'm sure for like a lot of people, I want to have a kid and be able to like give it everything that I can. I don't want my child to struggle. I don't want my child to see me struggle or whoever, like, you know, the dad is or anything. And I think that it's, I don't know.
You guys don't ever
plan
get the
it-
urge to have kids now?
No,
No, not at all.
absolutely not. That's
Do
like
you?
the one thing that I.
I'm good.
I
Do
don't
you?
even. I don't even get like baby fever.
Yeah, me either.
I do.
For me, it's more of
You
like
do?
because
Babies are adorable.
yeah, I know. I think it's because I have my nephew around, so sometimes like I feel almost like a second dad. Well, I mean, I feel like an uncle. I don't feel like a dad, but I have this weird thing because like I'm 24 and my dad had his first kid when he was like, how old do you know, Jenny? Because mom was
I
like
think he-
19 or something, so he had to be like 20. He was my age, no? He was
Yeah, he was
24.
24. Yeah.
So I just think about how like if I wanted to, I could have a kid, right? And it's like I feel like I wouldn't want to have one because, like you said, I don't think I have the resources to really take care of him and give him the life that I want to. But if per chance just something happened where I ended up having a kid, I wouldn't be like fuck, like his life's ruined, my life's ruined. I'd be hopeful that I think I could step up and do it now, just because like I don't know, with my nephew, I feel like I have a good time, and
Yeah.
like I don't know, it feels nice.
I feel like I don't really ever have the urge, and I think I just see it with like people and how they handle their babies, and I'm kind of like, it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
For the most
It
part,
doesn't
when I
look
see it, I'm
appealing.
like, it doesn't seem like they're happy. Like I look at them and I look at their kids and like, yeah, their kids are like, they look fine, but the parent usually doesn't look happy.
You mean like parents our age, or you mean like parents?
Yeah, like
older?
parents like our age sometimes.
Mm.
Like younger
Like-
parents.
And like, I'm not saying all of them. I'm sure all of them like love it and like are having like a good time, you know. But I feel like I personally am like, no, I don't feel ready to like have a kid. And I think it's more of like, because having a kid is also like shaping them into like who they kind of become. And I feel like I still have a lot to learn as to like how life should be, you know. Or the
No,
way
yeah,
I
mean,
see it, you know.
Yeah, I feel that. It's just for me, I guess it's like I don't think I'm ready, but if it happened, I feel like I'd be ready to be ready.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
I
you would
feel like
prepare yourself for it.
yeah, I'd be like, all right then, like I guess it's go time, right? Like
Mhm.
about to like dedicate myself. You know, I don't know. I guess it comes from my dad because he was a young dad.
Yeah.
But like I don't have like the biggest fear if like I don't know, like some girl hit me up like that. Okay, well it depends. If she's like trying to get money, right? She's trying to get money, right? But if it was like that, I'd be like fuck it. Like
Nah,
I guess
bro,
it's
I'd be
time.
paranoid. I'd be like, fuck, what am I gonna
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
I think I just
I'd
because I'm
honestly,
not,
yeah,
like,
I'd
ready.
honestly be paranoid. I'd be like, fuck, I can't do this.
I can't relate. I would step
What
up,
about
bro.
you, Brandon? What if
You tell her to abort it or what?
what if some girl like texts you and was like, "Hey, I'm pregnant"?
I mean, I feel like I'd be hopeful I could step up, but it's not that I don't think I can. It's just more like I just don't want to. Like
I just wouldn't be involved. I wouldn't be involved in his life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just I just like doing my own thing. So I feel like if I had like a little guy who was like me, that I had to always bring around, I'd probably be stressed out. But you know, also I'm pretty broke, so
Well,
Oh,
because I
yeah,
feel
sure. I
like,
have a full time job too. Maybe that's
yeah,
why.
I feel
Yeah.
like it's having a kid is just like super life changing, you know.
No, I think so
Like,
too. I'm not trying to belittle it. I'm not saying like yo, like
easy.
easy. I'm
Just
like
leave
duh.
him there.
But
Yeah.
I just like recently I thought about it where if it happened, I know I'd be like fuck, and I know I'd be like damn, like my life's ruined or whatever. But I feel
Yeah.
like I'd just like I'd be like, you know what? My dad did it. I have a job. Fuck, like I'll put my 100% in this. You know, Brandon, don't you want to have a lot of kids?
Yeah, but easy.
You
for
hate
me
your
to-
wife or
easy
what?
for me to say, you know.
Yeah.
I'm down to adopt though,
What if she doesn't want to adopt? She's like, I only want my kids.
and she won't be my wife.
Damn.
That's true though. That's true.
Why?
You gotta know
I feel like I
beforehand,
talk
though.
about this before I get married. So I feel like if she was like, "Nah, I'm not down to adopt," I'd be like, "Well."
But what if she's like, I'm down to have like 6 kids, but I just don't want to adopt?
I don't know. I feel like I would like maybe I don't know. I kind of like the idea of adopting. Kids
How
need
many
homes,
kids
bro.
do you want?
I feel like I want.
She's like, fuck. Like,
I know.
Because
How
he
many
said
do you-
6
do you
kids
want?
and then adopting.
I feel like on the lower end, like 4.
he said low
On the
end.
lower end, like 4. But I don't really know like what's the like. Nah. I feel like whatever she's down for, because obviously she's doing all the work.
What do you think of Andrea?
That's just a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot of.
That's
kids.
why, like right now, bro, I can't. 'Cause I need money to have that. You know.
Oh, that's especially why you don't want kids. But bro, if you want 6 kids, you gotta start early.
Nah.
You should have had your first kid
Should have had
yesterday.
3 by now.
I just got it. Like that.
I feel like
I got it like that.
I feel like the number for me always changes because I think I remember when I was younger, I always said I wanted 2. And then eventually I was like, I'll do 3 because there was 3 of us.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll do 3.
But then 3's an odd number.
And then
It's Brandon's thinking.
good things come in 3, bro.
That's true.
The universe comes in 3s.
Yeah. And then I was like, I'll do 3 because like from my mom's side, like my grandma had 3,
Yeah.
my mom had 3, so I'm like, kind of should have 3 at least. And then at one point, I think this was like in like my early like 20s, when I had just turned like around 20 or something. I was like, oh, I'm down for like 5. Like I'm down to have 5 kids.
Real.
Andrea's like,
Real.
like I barely want the 1.
Well, because I've already named them, you know?
You already named your kids.
Damn.
I can't tell you.
I'm not gonna
I
want
can't
it.
share.
I won't take them.
I can't share. But
No,
I've
no.
named them, and I have a whole list of names too.
What if one of them is like a boy or a girl? Or do you have alternatives for
Yeah.
each one? Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So you have
She's
6 names in
ready.
total?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ready then. Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, but
I-
I'm the one who's tripping about thinking about having kids.
I'm not ready to like have one yet, but I'm ready for like
when
to
it
name them,
happens.
you know?
You have like a bucket, like you're gonna like a glass case, or it's like breaking case of like
In
pregnancy.
case
Yeah.
the same day she finds out.
And I'm like, I have to have these, so
You have to what?
Like a must.
like
what's the name?
these have to be the names, you know?
What if-
Would you guys prefer to have boys or girls?
I think I want one of each.
Yeah, same for me.
I don't have a preference. Just
Yeah, same for me.
whatever-
Yeah, I don't have a
whatever
preference
comes
either.
out, comes out. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
someone love my
whatever
kid
comes out, comes
Yeah.
out.
I don't have
Whatever
like,
just pops
power
out.
over it,
Are you guys
know?
gonna do that thing where you don't see the gender until it's born? Or are you gonna ask to see it?
I think I would ask just to know because I don't know. I don't like surprises. I want to know, and then I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh,
I feel like
Julie?
I'd see like first like how healthy it is if I'm fine with having this kid, and then eventually like I want to find out. Maybe
But
like
before
6
it's born?
months. Maybe like 6 months.
would you want to know?
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Yeah, you want to know?
I'm like, this is.
I'll wait.
I always
Yeah?
think
Yeah,
I
I'll see
do
what it
always
is.
think about though of like this is the thing that I'm assigning him. If you want something else, that's up to them.
Yeah.
But this
why
is
it's
like
I don't really care about
Whatever
it.
they're born with, that's what like I'm gonna have them.
Oh, you mean like? Oh, okay.
Like yeah, if it's a girl, like the sex right is a
Mhm.
girl, and then eventually they're like, but I'm a guy. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
I feel like I genuinely think about these things because I genuinely was like, I also don't want to, the same thing, like, I don't want my kids to grow up knowing what gender roles are. Like, I don't want there to be gender roles. Like, I legit want them to dress whatever they like. Like, if whoever wants to wear a dress, wears a dress. Whoever wants to wear pants, wears pants, skirts, whatever. Like, they can choose however to dress. Like, yeah, as babies, I'll dress them, you know, because, like, they can't really dress themselves. But, like,
Mhm.
I'll raise them how I can, but they have the choice of choosing whatever they want to be, you know? That's how I've kind of had it in my head of like, I want my kid to just have a choice of however they want to be.
Yeah,
know?
because I mean, it's got to be all from love, right?
Yeah.
You gotta love who your kid is.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't have expectations either. It's like, it's as if like I had a son, and then I'm like, oh, I can't wait for him to play in the NBA, and then he's like, Dad, I don't want to play fucking like basketball. Like, I love I don't know, fucking trains. Like, I want to be a train conductor one day.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck no, you're gonna play in the league. Like,
Mhm.
you're crushing my dreams, son. You know what I mean? But I wanted to move it on to the next question because I still have questions for you girls. All right, what's something you wish boys or men understood more?
I think I would want men to understand how dangerous the world is for women. And it sucks,
okay.
you know, because it's not like we choose or we enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of men don't really understand how much of a problem everything is, especially just like, even just walking down the street and getting catcalled. Some guys will be like, oh, whatever, he's just flirting with you. And it's like, no, he was disrespecting me. He didn't have to do that, you know? And I think that that's just one thing that men don't really. So I feel like there's a lot of men that do, and that they're super like defensive about it, and like they protect like the women in their lives. And, you know, it's appreciated. But there's other men who just kind of like, oh, it's not that serious.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not
very
that big of a deal.
dismissive of it, right?
Yeah, and I think that that's the one thing that like bothers me the most, because it's like, dude, like if I could walk down the street or go out at night and do whatever by myself without having to worry, I would totally do it, because you know, it's not fun to live basically in fear all the time. So I think that's the main thing. There's definitely a lot of things that I wish men understood, like periods and all that crap.
Period.
Yeah, it's horrible, but
Why would you want men to understand?
I think just because they're very dismissive about it.
That
They're
too,
just kind
right?
of like, oh, you're just bleeding. It's whatever. All the pain, your cramps are not that bad. I can probably handle it. It's like it's
It's like
pretty
it's
bad.
not like getting kicked in the nuts or something, right? That's what they say. No?
I mean, I don't know.
I don't
I don't
know.
know what it's like to get.
Oh
kicked
yeah,
in
that's
the
true.
nuts.
I was like, I expected them to laugh. I don't know. I mean, would you say when you've gotten kicked in the nuts, was it like the most severe pain ever?
I mean, I've broken bones, so I don't know about the most severe.
Ah.
Because I feel like it hurts. Yeah, like
It hurts. It's more like I don't know. For me, it makes me want to throw up. No.
For me, it's more of like I get like
Like getting hit in the balls.
It's not. It's a different kind of pain. It's not like.
Mhm.
It's not like that. It's not as direct.
It's
more
such like a niche pain.
It's like guttural. You know what I mean? It's like your insides are like twisted.
Is
up.
it kind of like getting punched in the stomach in a way?
no, it's like to
So
me.
then is
if-
it the same as cramps?
It's
and
a
getting hit
different
in the
kind of
balls?
pain. It's not like.
I think it's-
I don't know, because the way that they're describing it, I'm like,
No.
those are my cramps.
You've never you've never wanted to
They
throw
could
up
be
after.
similar.
throw up, nah, but like
I want to throw up.
I just wanted to like.
well, I
Let's
guess.
find out.
Well, I guess them
I just
getting.
wanted to like
you
sink
getting
on the
hit-
ground and like fucking like just scream.
I guess
know what I
you
mean?
getting hit in the balls is like that, but that's happening like every single minute.
It's true because the uterus. You're like they don't understand.
No,
I don't know.
I don't know.
one getting kicked in the ball
I don't
once
know.
is worse than every single cramp you probably ever had.
Combined.
Yeah, combined.
Nah, I'm just
Times
kidding. I
10.
don't know. Well, they have those. You guys have seen where they
Where they can stimulate, they can do it
My
to
bad.
we
guys.
should do that on the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
we
you
should test
guys.
it. You should volunteer.
Why not you? I thought you were the pain.
You're
guy.
both
The
gonna do
pregnancy
it.
belly too.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
We
It's
should
like
have
a-
They
you do
have
the
pregnancy bellies.
I could handle that.
All right. We'll
Nah,
see.
actually, I feel like that one looks shitty because I like to sleep on my side, and
Mhm.
it's like
You
you
have to
can't do
sleep on
that,
your
right?
back.
Yeah.
Well, you can,
But it's like uncomfortable, no?
Yeah. That's why some people have like those special pillows if you want to sleep on your side.
Oh yeah,
while
the pregnancy
pregnant.
pillows.
Yeah, the pregnancy
yeah.
pillows.
I feel like would you be in the room like watching or the delivery room? Because I feel like I'd faint. I feel like I'd be more of a hassle.
Fake. Fuck. I'm trying to remember what my brother told me, my older brother. Cause I feel like we think alike sometimes. He told me that he was just like, fuck, like that shit is nasty.
Can you be like on the other side, like holding the hand?
Yeah, I
Do you
think
have
I'd be on
to-
the other
Yeah,
side.
okay.
I'd-
Yeah, the other side.
if like my I guess husband or whatever doesn't want to like see what's going on, at least be by my side. Like you don't have to
Yeah, I'd do that.
like, but just like be by my side at
Yeah.
least.
Cause I think I
Yeah.
remember my brother said that like he wanted to look because he's like, this is my son, like I feel like I should look. So he looked and he was like, damn. He was like,
Well, because
"Fuck."
some women tear, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Damn, dude, I know.
Nah,
I've never even seen a video actually of what it looks like or pictures or anything. I've never seen
I've
anything.
never
on
seen
it.
it either.
You're waiting for the
Have
live
you?
action.
Yeah, live action. I gotta save it up. I gotta really hype it up. So that when I see it, it's like, cause it's birth, right? It's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
it's life
Miracle of
beginning.
life.
I'm like, oh, what if it's beautiful? Like I shed a tear.
You just busting a tear.
I'm like, oh my god, you guys made me think about it the completely like wrong way.
Yeah, I feel like I'd want men to, I don't know, be more understanding of, I don't know, emotions. I think I just see it as like, sometimes I feel like I do try to like express my emotions, and then it's like there's always a joke to it, or like there's always just like there's no type of like consideration sometimes.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's very like a little dismissive,
Yeah.
you know. And I get it because like dudes don't really know like how to express themselves sometimes, or like they don't know what to do in situations when girls are kind of expressive, which is why I'm kind of like, I feel like I would like guys to be a little more understanding of that.
You know what's weird? I feel like when I was younger, like when I was like in my teen years, or even like when I was like in my preteen, like still kind of like a kid, I feel like as a dude, it was a lot easier to like express my emotions. But when I became like a grown man, I feel like that's when it became a lot harder. I don't know. Do you agree to that? Would you say that resonates with you? Do you feel like it was easier when you were younger? Because I feel like I think about moments when I would hang out with like the homies and stuff, and I feel like we would always be very expressive of how we felt, and we would ask each other like emotion questions. And I feel like it was so easy. Maybe it's because like you don't feel that stigma yet of like when you're a grown man, you're like, bro, you're a grown man, like grow up, or like stop doing this. I don't know what it is, but just when I was younger, maybe there was less judgment because everybody used to have that innocence. Like maybe it's just slowly fading away. But I feel like when I was a kid or preteen, teenager, like it was just so much easier to kind of like do it. And now that I'm an adult, it's just like it definitely for me, just being like completely candid about it. It's just like I just feel uncomfortable like about it. It's just like it, and I don't feel welcomed. Like I don't feel welcome to express that, as opposed to when I was younger. It felt like, bro, who cares? Like, fuck all that. It's as if I was a kid and I was like, I'm not gonna be like all the other adults when I get older. But then I ended up being that way anyways.
Yeah.
You know, I think about it like Stand By Me. You know that movie? You guys have seen that movie? I think about it like that. You know how he's like, I never. Wait, no, is it that movie where he's like, I never had friends like I did when I was in 6th grade?
Yeah, it's that movie.
Stand By Me, right? Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. I don't know. Does that resonate with you?
I guess it's just more like, I guess when you put it like that, sure. But I guess the stuff that bothered me when I was a kid, even if it's like still around, I looked at it with a different lens, so it didn't have as serious of a vibe. I guess.
I get what you mean.
So I feel like when I got older, shit that bothered me then that still bothers me now feels more serious. So I feel like I'm okay.
I get you.
You know.
Yeah, because I think we talked about this once with one of our friends. You guys know him, Patrick. One time we were at a park. Do you remember? It was at late at night, and me and him and we were having like a very grown man talk about stuff like that. We were like, it's so weird because when you're a kid, you really think like stuff like that, like I don't know, you just think it's gonna go away, and like and you're like, it's not that big of a deal, and then you become older, and you're like, damn, like this shit is still there. And like to think about it now, it has like a heavier emotional weight than it did like when it happened, because at the time I was like, whatever, bro, I don't give a fuck, like it's gonna go away, and then it's fucking there. And it's like, I don't know, you kind of try not to touch it because now it's been so long to where it's like whoa, like there's a lot of seriousness on it.
I think the other thing, and I think this is like my own thing of like, sometimes I feel like I do tend to like express my emotions, but then I sometimes get into my head and overthink of like, I don't want to be kind of in the, what is it, like stigma of like being too emotional. And I think that's like one of the things that kind of sucks sometimes, at least for me, is that I do feel like I want to express myself, but I feel like as a dude, I feel like I'm being, as a dude, they're kind of judging me of like being too emotional, you know? And I think that's why like, for me, I'm like, I want the conversation to be a lot more of like, you understand what I'm going through. You're not just like judging me for like expressing myself. You're actually like trying to be understanding of it. And I think that's where like I'm saying like, I want guys to be a little more understanding of it, of like that I don't feel myself that I'm being too emotional or I'm being too much, you know? Like I'm not just like overly like or nagging or whatever. Like, no, like this is how I feel, and like you're actually like listening to me and actually understanding like what I'm feeling, you know?
I feel like as a dude, one thing that's always weirdly given me comfort is that like hearing women talk about their feelings, because I feel like I enjoy listening to them. In a way, I feel like it's nice to hear somebody else talk about stuff, you know? So whenever in the past I've hung out with like my lady friends and they tell me all their stuff, I'm like, wow, like in a way it's as if like I'm like I'm feeling my emotions through them. and like it feels nice. So I don't mind being the listener, you know. So just saying that, because whenever you tell me stuff, I'm never like, I don't ever think you're emotional. I'm more of like, I'm glad you're saying something, because I'm glad that at least somebody's like expressing like how they feel.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh.
But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with both of you guys, like I always grew up like having trouble like in being in touch with my emotions, and like I felt like I was always like invalidated, and I didn't really have like a person or like an open space to like talk about the way that I felt or anything. And I remember, one day, I don't remember what was going on, but Steve came up to me and he asked me, he's like, hey, like, are you okay? And I just like, I started crying, and I just felt that immediate like comfort. And then I met Brandon, and the same
vibe.
thing, just like, you guys have both always been so like comforting in that sense. And I think that's very good, because there's other men who are super like, bro, why are you crying? Like, just get over it. Like, you'll be okay. And stuff. It's like, okay, well, I just want to talk about it, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And even if it's like a guy or a girl, some girls can be like that too. Like real dismissive about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you. Bro, high five. But moving on to my next question. This one's kind of funny. So what can boys do to celebrate International Women's Day /month?
Well, to start off, both of you can send us like $100 right now.
That's what I said last time.
Yeah, Bill.
I'll send you like imaginary money. Does that work?
Or at least like each man in our life send us like $10.
Yeah.
Each
$10,
man?
yeah.
Why you guys gotta
man.
go high? Like
We
$10.
said $10.
I said $10.
oh, you said 10. I heard 100.
100 from just both of
That's
you.
that's still a lot.
But if we're
10's
gonna
still a lot
extend to
for
all
me.
men,
I have
$10.
$5, I guess. $5.
All right, everybody watching, send a woman that is special to you.
My
in your
Venmo
life.
is at Jalissa dash.
We'll put it up.
Martinez.
We'll edit it in.
I don't have Venmo. Just send it to her.
Just be like for Andrea.
Yeah.
All right, what should we do to celebrate the women in our lives for the month?
I don't know. Post this on social media.
Post you.
Say that you're grateful for me
Yeah,
or
tell
something.
us-
I don't
tell
know.
us how much
Write
you
me a
appreciate
letter.
Corny. you know.
Whatever.
No, just kidding. I don't know. What if
What if I'm just your friend?
That's
But
not
you're
enough.
always being mean to me.
I'm never. I'm so nice.
It's because this is how guys are, Julie. I thought you were a tomboy.
I guess.
You want him to express his
That's where
emotion?
the hard skin.
It's
comes
so
from.
ironic that you say I'm mean, but off air she's so mean.
But
This is an on air
I'm the
persona
nicest
she puts
person I
on.
do you guys think this face is mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask
Don't
that.
trust them. Don't trust
Mm.
Even though you just gave it like you guys are
I
good.
know.
You guys are lucky. You guys
I
are
take it
lucky.
back.
It's Women's Month, bro.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Women's Month, I'd expose both of you
Yeah.
right now.
Whatever.
Going in.
But I'll let it
Whatever,
slide.
dude. We'll see after.
All right, this is my next question, which is kind of funny. Would you guys date a guy who's broke as fuck?
I guess that's enough.
No.
Who's broke? Sure. If
Liar!
he treats me well, if he's treating me pretty well, like he's not mean to
But
me.
I'm telling you, he's broke as fuck.
Broke is
like-
a joke.
Not only is he broke, his whole family's broke. He comes from a broke, long lineage of broke people.
Mhm.
Like, are they like broke because they choose to be broke?
No.
Because like, no, dude,
No.
get a job. You know. But if it's like,
Does he? So he doesn't
No,
have a
it's
job. So he
circumstance.
doesn't have a job.
But he doesn't have a job.
He
no.
doesn't have a job.
He's just kind
No.
of down on his luck right now.
Yeah.
Mm.
And his. You could say that about his whole family.
He doesn't have a dime to his
Yeah.
name.
So his family doesn't have a. No, his family has jobs, right?
No, they're all broke.
What?
Only his dad has a job, but he's like he's broke.
But
How
he
old-
is.
I don't want to say names because I also don't want to make.
But he
I'm not
does
trying
want to like work. He is working his way. He's just broke.
like, is he at least trying?
Yeah.
Or he's just like, whatever it is, what it is. I'm broke.
He doesn't mind being broke.
Okay, no.
He doesn't
No.
mind.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not. I think just because, especially like in our age, bro, like, come on. Like, there's a bunch of jobs. Like, you can at least make an effort. I just don't think I would want to be like providing for like two people, especially if we're not like married. Let's say we're, you know.
But I would say he's really nice. He's handsome.
Mhm.
And
But
He's funny.
choosing not to work.
Yeah.
Like he just wants to be.
He's just an
broke.
unmotivated guy. But yeah, he's just an unmotivated guy. But he's super nice, super funny, and pretty
I feel like
handsome.
that's hard because then that's like emotionally, like that's just really hard because it's like you're not feeling motivated. Like what is it like?
What's keeping you from?
He's just like, he comes from a long family of people who never really have done anything. So he's like, I gotta like work a lot, and I'm like, I don't like working. Like, I don't.
He's like lazy.
He's not lazy. Just specifically work ethic. He doesn't have work
Like
ethic.
no work ethic at all.
Yeah, he still goes to like on the weekends. He plays like soccer and stuff. So he's not lazier.
He hits the gym and stuff.
Yeah.
How does he pay his?
No, yeah,
membership?
that's what I said. No, that's what I said. No, he plays.
He goes to the park gym. You know?
Yeah. No, he's active. Like he's not a lazy guy, but he
takes care
has
of himself,
like no
I guess, right?
work ethic. So he's broke as fuck.
I feel like that's hard just because like you could be like the nicest, most perfect guy in the world, like emotionally, but it's just like I don't know. I don't think I can deal with that kind of stuff, especially like in this day and age. Everything is so like expensive. Like you have to be paying all the time. You know, like let's say.
What if he's like he's fine? Like he's like, oh, it's okay. We can go out. I just won't eat. Like I just won't.
That's
eat anything."
annoying. Like, dude.
That's
so
annoying.
annoying
Bro,
to
get your
me.
money up. Like
Yeah,
no.
get your money up.
Women are so
It's hard because
money.
it's like I have like I've dated a
money.
broke guy before.
Wait, what?
I've dated a broke guy before.
Damn. Every girl dates
and-
a broke guy.
And
Yeah, it builds character.
and I feel like and I feel like that's what I was saying. I was like, I feel like if he's nice, yes, like I can like understand like him, and I'll be like, okay, like he's treating me well, right? Like I don't care if like he doesn't buy me shit. Like food never, like if I'm talking about the food that I was with, food never bought me anything, and I was totally fine. Like I was totally like in love with the food. But it
Know
was
your
just
words,
like
bro. Know your words.
not knowing like knowing that like he has like no motivation on it. I think that's also different because it's like there's like something there where they're kind of being negative with themselves, and I'm kind of like that's a lot to handle, you know, especially being as someone who, if you love and care for this person and seeing this person kind of like not have that motivation. I feel like for me that would suck because I'd be like, what is it that's like not right for you? Like, do you not have a motivation of us moving like up, you know? Like is it like you just don't want us to move up? Like what is it like that you're just stuck here? Like for me, I would feel like, is it me? Like, am I like, do you just not want to work for us? Like, what is it? Like, I think that's how I think about it. Because I'm kind of like, well, if he doesn't have the motivation, then I think that's a lot just within our relationship, you know? So, like, I'm chill. Like, if we don't have to, like, do all these things, and, like, we could just go to the park and, like, have a picnic or something and just sit and chat or something. I don't know. But, like,
You don't see it going anywhere?
But, like, to, like, not, like, him not work, I guess, on it or something. I'm kind of like, or, like, have something, you know, for himself or, like, I don't know. I could also be the, what do you call it?
The breadwinner?
Yeah. But like, you know, I guess he got to be the housewife.
What if he's like, I'm
That's
down. I'm down. He's like, fuck yeah, I don't want to work. Would you
Right.
be okay with that?
Yeah. If he cooks
Yeah.
me a meal, he has to first cook me a meal.
And he throws down.
That's
on
the
the
old-
girl.
He's like, he tells you like, we got to go 50-50 with the at-home things because it's not fair that I don't want to be your servant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got to cook though. He's always, that meal better be there every single time I come
You
home.
agree, Jera?
I don't know. I think that
Yeah. I know you don't agree. I know you're like, fuck no.
fuck that shit. I don't know. I think that it should definitely be like, I think as long as a man can provide for himself,
Mm-hmm.
like that's great. That's good enough. You know, like you don't have to provide for me. If you have a job and you can only afford to like provide for yourself, that's fine. Like I can pay for my own stuff, you know. But just that motivation, like, you know,
There's something unattractive about
it
that.
just, yeah, because it's just kind of like, I don't want no bum.
you
know? So it's not that hard.
That's
Yeah.
real.
Like
No, that's
if
real.
you're not doing anything, like how you said, if they're just like in a like a difficult like spot in their life where they can't get a job or they're struggling or something, then that's fine. But like you know, you got to find that motivation and eventually figure something out, you know, not just kind of be like, yeah, whatever, I'll get a job when I get a job or whatever, you know, especially like being in a relationship, it takes two, you know?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's like, you know, like with my boyfriend, like he buys me a lot of nice things. I buy him nice things too, you know, and it's nice, but I think that it definitely takes two, you know. So
What about you, Brandon?
if you're broke, get the fuck out.
If you're broke, get the fuck out of the club. Have you seen that meme? It's like when the DJ says, "If you're broke as fuck, get the fuck out of here." And yeah, and it's them
"All
like,
right, guys."
it's like them leaving. All right, would you date a girl that's broke?
Probably not.
Nah,
I mean,
she's gotta get her money up.
I'm not trying to like.
On Women's History Month, bro.
Oh, my bad. Of course,
wouldn't-
absolutely.
You
I would
wouldn't
date
be the
anyone.
breadwinner.
I'd marry her right away. That's because it's Women's History Month.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would never talk down about women. Never.
Mm.
Every woman is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. I said it all. All right.
Bruh.
So,
Maybe you would. So you
what?
would?
Date a broke woman?
Mhm.
If she's nice, pretty, and like treats me right, yeah. I mean, what's wrong with that?
Okay.
But if she was just like, she like didn't care about like,
Well, yeah, because I guess the way you made it sound is she's just kind of like, yeah, but fuck it, I'm gonna stay broke forever, you know, like
I'll figure it out.
like.
whenever
But
I
if
can.
it's like they're just kind of down on their luck, you know, and they're trying, like,
yeah,
you know, like eventually, then yeah, sure. But like if they're like, nah, I give up. And then I'm like, well, maybe you're not the kind of person that I.
Yeah,
want, you know what I mean?
I get where you guys coming from. I get you. Yeah, it'd be kind of hard. I want to, like, if she was cool, if she was pretty, if she was funny, then I'd be like, like, bro, like, just try, you know, like come on, like,
Yeah.
you gotta try
just
something.
like the effort, you know.
Like no
Yeah.
talent, or like, you know, like at least do something, you know,
Yeah.
like be a YouTuber.
YouTuber.